Welcome back, everybody. As you probably guessed by the title of the video, this is what we're going over today. This is the Jackery Explorer 1000. Now, as the name indicates, it can power things that require a draw up to 1,000 watts. That said, it also allows for peak surges up to 2,000 watt draw. But we're going to get into that here and show you what it can and cannot power, where it's going to fail, how it fails, those sorts of things. And when I say fail, I don't mean break, I just mean stop providing energy. So this is the newest one from Jackery, and to my knowledge is the largest to date, but we have previously reviewed this guy here, which is the 500. So there is a difference in size that's not insignificant. So this one here weighs 22 pounds. This one, of course, obviously is much lighter. You guys can get an idea there size-wise how they stack up. It's obviously a little bit wider. It's also a little bit longer, and overall, it's not too big. There's definitely competitive options to this model out there with similar output that are actually much heavier. I don't know of one that performs like this one does that's lighter. So in terms of feature set, definitely lightweight for the amount of power that you get is a good point for it. But let's get up close, take a look at it here, and then kind of show you how to set it up, how it works, all of those sorts of things. We'll start out here up top and then kind of work our way around for some semblance of order. This is our input, so this is how you're going to charge it. It does come with an AC adapter, which is UL certified, so that's nice. A lot of the adapters out there aren't, so that definitely is a plus for the Jackery. And it also comes with a car charging kit, which obviously uses the DC output in your car to charge it. And you can also use solar panels to charge it. That's what I've been using. However, it does not come with the panels. It does, however, come with the parallel charging kit that we'll show you here in just a second. This button here will show you where you're at currently. If you're actually charging or if you're using anything, this will automatically be on, letting you know the status of the actual draw that you're using or input that's coming in. I should mention the input there, the most that you can put into it is 30 volts at a time, and watts wise it's going to be probably 170 to 175. That's the most I've been able to put in there, and that's with two kits that we're going to show you here in a second, solar panel kits on a super bright sunny day. So compared to some other options out there in the market, there are some other ones that will allow 60 volts and higher numbers of watts as well. So just kind of know that. In terms of how long does it take to charge it, again, on a really sunny day, we went from nothing all the way up to fully charged with solar panels, and I was moving them as the sun went through, and this was in September for what it's worth, and it took just over 7 hours to charge it. So there is that. Again, display button there, as we already talked about, the DC output, so that way if you want to run anything that requires a cigarette charger, you have that. We also have our USB-C, two of those, and then we have our standard 2.4 amp USB port, and then the quick charge 3.0 port, which definitely is nice. We have, as you guys can see there, pure sine wave, 110 volts, 3 different outlets. And what's nice is they're spaced widely enough, so that way if you have any kind of like larger plugs, like say an air conditioner or something like that, those tend to have wider than normal plugs. You can accommodate for it there. To use them, you're just going to press that and that will turn it on. You probably heard the fan kick on. That's what happens when you turn any of these on. We've got the display out of the way. Let's talk about how to actually charge it. Obviously with the AC adapter, you're just going to plug it right in and then plug it into a wall. But why do that if you can use solar, right? It's free. So let's do that. Now the panels that I'm using here are 100 watt panels from Jackery. Now these do not come with it. However, you can purchase them and you can wire them in parallel because it comes with this from the factory. This does. It comes right with it. So how do these things work? Well, first off, they're magnetically held together, which certainly is nice for carrying them. Has a nice handle. But on the back side here, we have this zipper pouch. And these are the newest version. I actually have an older version of the 100 watts that are a little bit different. And then this right here is the port that you're going to put right in there. It's the barrel port that we talked about earlier. And on the newer version, what's kind of cool is you can actually plug right in here a USB-C and a USB right into them there. Previously it was up top, but so if you don't want to actually use your portable charger at all, the Explorer 1000, you just want to use these to charge your mobile devices, you can do so. So that certainly is cool. Then we have this little piece right here, which is kind of like a kickstand. So if we open it up, we're going to get our solar panels facing towards whatever little sun we have today, which there really isn't much. So unfortunately, we're expecting a storm today, but if I could actually get this out, and you'll see at this point we can put the input in, and obviously it recognizes that there is an input display on, and we are getting right now 5 to 10 watts. So again, obviously it's way cloudy right now because the storm is coming in, but you can run it just with one like that. As I said, on a really bright day, I was getting up to about 170, 175 on it there. But we're gonna open the second one here and show you how to wire them in parallel. Now that we have the second one laid out there, we'll pull this one out, and we're just gonna put both of these pieces from your solar panels into the charger, and then we're going to connect it right there via the Anderson port. So there you go, and let's check the display, see what's going on here. Takes a second to register. That's true for anything, as you guys are going to see when we start testing the draw and stuff like that. There's a slight delay on what you guys actually see. So yep, power's gone up a little bit. Now we're between 9 and 15. So again, super cloudy day. It's late in the afternoon. It's almost December. The sun is somewhere behind those clouds right there, but it shows you the principle of how it works. You know, during the day today, if I had both of these hooked up when it was sunny, I'd be willing to guess, again, it's almost December as of when I'm recording this, we'd be able to get 130, 140 watts going in there, and it would charge it up pretty quickly, but conditions are not ideal for that right now. In the beginning of this video, you guys saw some time-lapse footage of the Jackery here making some coffee. So I use that as an example because on my 500 that we tested in the past, if you guys didn't see that video, I had to use a special coffee maker, which was purposely purchased just to use with that. It was a 600 watt draw, really low watt draw coffee maker designed for RVs. So that one did power that, which was cool, but the coffee maker you guys just saw in the intro is designed to, rated rather, to pull at 1200 watts. So definitely more than this can power. And like we talked about in the intro, it's rated for 1000 watts, but also allows for peaks of 2000. So when I say peaks, what does that mean? Typically with modern appliances, a peak is going to be when a lot of electricity happens and there's a huge draw rather at once. So something like a coffee maker, when that heating coil really needs all that energy all at once, there's that. Like a hair dryer, which we're going to show you here with a heat gun, or conversely with an AC, as soon as that coolant trips, it really is going to pull it. Now this is rated for any of the modern smaller AC units. Additionally, most coffee makers, it's rated for refrigerators. I ran my refrigerator on it, which is, you know, a new Energy Star compliant one. It had 0 issues at all. So, you know, if you find yourself in a grid down type situation and you want your food not to spoil, this is going to run your fridge for a pretty good amount of time. So that certainly is good. But let's test a couple things out on it. The one thing, I grabbed this specifically for a reason, and this is some lighting that I use from time to time on the channel, some mobile lighting, and I'm actually usually, when I'm out here using it, I'm powering it with the Jackery 500. But what's interesting about this particular light setup here is that it actually requires an 18 watt USB port. So a lot of USB ports, for those that don't know, are not 18 watts. So 18 watts are like the newer ones that come with Apple smartphones and stuff like that. So we'll see if this, the actual 3.0 quick charge is 18 watt. You're gonna hit the DC button there, and then we're gonna turn this on and see if it does. It comes on. So that's cool. It definitely is at least 18 watts there. Let's check the standard 2.4 amp 5 volt there. Push that in there. It's a little wobbly on this table. And then works on that too. So there's some pretty good power coming out of those USB ports, which certainly is nice. A lot of the older ones, for folks that don't know, are going to push like 8 watts. And if that was the case, this would not come on. So we do know that at this point. Now we're going to test the DC and see what kind of failure we get here, or rather the AC, excuse me, not the DC. We'll turn that off since we don't need it anymore. Turn the AC on, and we're going to put our heat gun in there. Now, it totally says in the manual not to use a hairdryer with it, which I'm assuming is going to be the same as this. This particular one here, and low, is rated for, it doesn't say in low, but on high is rated to pull 1400 watts. So let's see what it does there. You guys can see right now it's pulling 1 watt. That's probably just from the cable itself. And if we turn it on low, we'll see what it does. I'm hoping you guys can see that, but that's between 450 and 550. That's what it's drawing on there. And it's putting out some pretty good heat. I did test this with a portable heater as well. That was drawing right at 1,000 and it had zero issues with it. It ran for like, I don't know, I want to say like 40 minutes until it just shut itself off just due to the, the overheating, because it was going up to 1100 just like the coffee maker was. That's just an internal safety mechanism that it does have. And so you guys can see there, pretty consistent. It's running it just fine. Now I'm going to turn it on high. It should, if it's doing its job right, try to power it on high, and then after a few seconds, turn off because the load is too great. So let's see. On high. Interesting. It's actually not drawing over 1,000. I wonder if it's too old. Not as efficient as it used to be. Maybe it needs a minute to warm up though as well. Well, we're gonna have to go get something a little bit more powerful. Once again, I was a little bit surprised that heating gun didn't do the trick to show you guys the safety and the trip of it, but we went and got a different portable heater than I tried earlier. This one's actually rated for a draw of 1,500 watts at 25 degrees Celsius and 1,650 watts at 0 degrees Celsius. Right now it's about 68 degrees outside. So we'll see. It should trip it. We'll see. So, all right, it's on max in terms of that. We're gonna turn the fan on first. And you guys can see there with the fan, it is basically going right at 20 watts consistently. Now we're gonna turn it on low heat. All right, so the fan on the Jackery, I don't know if you guys can hear that, it started to kick in, meaning we got some draw going on, right? So let's see, it's definitely putting on some heat, and it kicked it off right there. And what it's doing again, though, is just restarting it again once the amount of energy being drawn from it goes down below the safe point. So that's why it's going to kind of go on and off. And we're going to kick it up just to show you how fast it can do it on high. Now it's on high. You guys can see it is going up there in terms of draw consistently. I'm guessing that's as it heats up, although I am not a portable heater expert. So we're over 850. Over 900, over 950, over 1,000. Should stop anytime now. And that fan is working. We got some air coming out of there. Over 1,100. Getting to 1,200. But you can see though, it'll do it for a little bit, right? So that's good, right? You want that peak power capability. Because a lot of things do have that peak power and then it'll drop down. So we're over 1,250 right now and it's still going strong. Nicely warming up the camera, I'm sure, as well. And it's steady climbing. We'll just see how long it goes. I'm timing it. Over 1,300 and it went down. Cut itself off right there. As soon as it crossed that 1,300 mark, it shut down. Now you guys can see the fan is still going. If I leave the fan on the Jackery, rather, if I leave the fan itself on, or the heater, it would just wait until internally it's safe to start producing power again, and then kind of go through that whole cycle again. So certain things it can't do, and prolonged use of a 1,600 watt portable heater is one of them. But like I said, like you have an Energy Star rated, AC unit, a small one, it'll run those all day, so it can run some stuff that's powerful. That heat draw though, that is kind of the hardest thing for a lot of these units. I've got a couple other points before we close the video out, so we're almost there. The input there, although it does have both options there, it will only run one at a time. It'll prioritize whichever one's giving it the most power up to 30 volts. So there is that, just know that going into it. I thought you'd be able to use both, but you can't. So just know that for what it is. The handle there, obviously very convenient for carrying around. Seems pretty darn well made. These are the vent slots on both sides, so when it starts to heat up, it's venting both ways, so that certainly is good for efficiency. We do have a pathetic flashlight. As somebody who reviews flashlights, this flashlight, pathetic. That said, if it's all you had, it would definitely be better than nothing. And it is more powerful than like an iPhone, for example. So there is that, but definitely don't want to rely on that as a primary flashlight. Now, let's get into price, right? Because that's always important. And that's one of the reasons I'm actually doing this review right now. Like I said, I've had it in for a couple months. Been using it off and on in different places at the range and other places like that. And again, we've had zero issues with it. We went over the charging times already, but price point on this, MSRP as of 2020 is $999. Excuse me, not MSRP, but that's the MAP, so the minimum advertised price. However, right now, as of when I'm recording this video, they have $100 off over both on their site and on Amazon. We'll put links down below for both of these. So $8.99 out the door shipped to you. Is it worth it? Well, again, it kind of just depends. There's other competitive offerings out there that will have the ability to charge faster, for example, but they're way heavier. So if you're somebody who needs a portable unit, there is that. Those other units that I'm talking about as well are also all more expensive than this. So price point wise, you know, it's pretty darn good compared to other offerings on the market. Jackery also has really good customer service. If you look around, anybody who's ever had an issue with it, they resolve it very, very quickly. They're based in America, for those of you guys that are watching in America anyway. So you get somebody who will actually answer the phone when you call, so that is good. But worth ultimately is up to you guys to decide. I just show you what it can and can't do, and you guys can make that call from there. Speaking of can and can't do, those solar panels, those again not included, but I personally, I highly recommend them. You can charge this and use it, unlike some other, again, competitive options out there at the same time. So you can like leave this charged with your solar panels on like the roof of an RV, for example, and run all your small appliances in the RV off of it and do it at the same time. So there's no need to unplug and then replug and all of those sorts of things. So that is an advantage. But those solar panels, again, I highly recommend getting them. They are very efficient solar panels. Those are $30 off as of right now. Again, there will be a link down below in the video description where you guys can check that out. So there is that. Overall, I really like it. I've been very happy with the Jackery power banks, and there are so many uses for this type of thing. Guys these days, many people these days are dependent on like medical devices to stay alive that require electricity. And if you don't have a generator, something like this can power a CPAP for a long time, particularly if it's actually sunny out that day. You know, you can power your CPAP virtually indefinitely, depending on the actual draw of it, of course. Your refrigerator, like I talked about, just not having all of your food in your refrigerator spoil, that's going to save you a couple $100 right there the first time you use it. Like I mentioned, I use this out at the range for various electrical needs that I have out there, lighting, those sorts of things, and no issues, works just fine. Very portable. You could easily put this in a rucksack and take it out to a campsite or something like that and just have some power, whereas otherwise you'd have no other ability to do so, and it doesn't require gasoline, propane, anything like that, and it's also way lighter than just about any generator out there as well, so that is nice. I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about it or anything like that, you can always post down below in the comments section. However, you actually need your post, or rather question, answered, the best place to reach me is over at my Facebook page. The reason is I do see everything over there on Facebook in terms of messages that I get, whereas on YouTube, Parler, Instagram, anywhere else that I post content, I don't always see the comments. So that's the best place to reach me. But if you guys are new here and you like the type of video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, make sure you hit the notification bell, the like button, share, all of those sorts of things that every YouTuber says for no apparent reasons. And I'll say here since it helps the algorithm. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.